have reached the end of the Chameleon Chrome stuff for the most part. Woo. So I still have to do the entire collection post, which I already have one, but I want to revamp it now that we have all these new products and product line expansions. So we're just about done. And obviously, or maybe not obviously, I'm not doing a blog post dedicated to the glitter mist. It just doesn't make sense, but I will review it in that Roundup collection blog post. So the last little ditty that we have here, which hopefully should be somewhat quick, are the highlighters. And we will get right into it. So the Chameleon Chrome Highlighters per Wet n Wild. This is a liquid to baked powder highlighter. And personally, I don't see how they're different from any other highlighter. They deliver a frosted chrome reflective finish with light reactive pigments that shift and are highly buildable intensity wise. So there are 4 shades, which we'll get into when we hit that section. The coverage is buildable from light sheen to a bold chrome payoff with a frosted shimmer finish. The formula is silicone based with a liquid to bake structure that has different light reflecting sort of agents in it, which is where you get the glitter and the color shift. For the wear, there's a strong immediate payoff, and this type of highlighter is best for editorial makeup looks, bold highlighter looks, and additional uses like eyeshadow on the lips, so on and so forth. So the packaging is just, pressed baked pan, and it is fragile, and it can and will break during shipping, which we'll also talk about, because I always give you all the dirt, right? And this product is available at most major retailers, but the shade range depends. It varies. So that was the, summary of what we're about to go through here, the blog post. But of course, I have all 4 shades, and we're going to do all of the things that I always do for an in-depth review. But I'll take you through here the full list of claims from Wet n Wild. So this is the details, the claims, the price. So again, they say this is a liquid to powder highlighter that should be giving you a light reactive color shifting sort of glow. And the formula is using multidimensional pigments that should shift depending on lighting and angle to give you more of a dramatic effect than just a typical shimmer highlighter. So Wet n Wild also says that this texture should feel silky and weightless, and it should melt into your skin for a seamless finish. The formula is also described as ultra blendable and buildable so that you can control the intensity, and if you want a soft sheen or more reflective kind of high impact glow, that you can do that. And they really focus on adaptability with their claims, talking about shifting, transformation under different lighting conditions to give you more of a dynamic look as compared to just a regular highlighter, right? So this should make the formula more noticeable in direct light, and then as you turn and shift angles, rather than that uniform look across the skin. Application is intended to be flexible, so they tell you to put it along the high points of your face, just like you would any highlighter, right? Your cheekbones, your brow bones. You can use a brush, you can use your fingers, and at the end, you're just looking for a look that is smooth but still reflective. And of course, I have, like I was mentioning, my blog post on the entire Chameleon Chrome collection. Right now, it's only 20-25 pieces. Once I'm done with all these reviews, I want to go back and I want to revamp my collection posts. So that's coming up. But where can you find these highlighters? It depends. So of course, the prices always vary. They start at $6.97 and they go all the way to $7.99. I'll let you guess before I tell you who's at $7.99, who's always more expensive than everybody else. So if you want the full shade range, you're going to have to go through Walmart, Amazon to get all 4. Wet n Wild has 3, so they're missing Aurora Glaze, the pink highlighter. And then the rest of the retailers only have the 2025 shades. They never got the 2026. That would be your Walgreens, Target, and CVS. So Walmart and Amazon always have the same prices. They're always the lowest price by a couple of pennies, $6.97. You have your Walgreens, your Target, Wet n Wild themselves at $6.99, and CVS, you guessed it, is always the most expensive at $7.99, $8. Why? So, just keep that in mind when you are shopping. But summary so far, the prices range from $6.97 to $7.99 depending on the retailer. Amazon and Walmart offer the widest shade selection. CVS, Target, and Walgreens only have the 2025 shades, and Wet n Wild's website is excluding Aurora Glaze. Now, in terms of the ingredients, there's a lot going on. The list is pretty long, and most of it I cannot pronounce. So what I can tell you is this formula starts out with several silicones, so it's silicone heavy. You'll see words like dimethicone, trimethicone, anything with the cone is usually a silicone, right? And that's how you're getting very smooth, slip-like texture that should be helping the product to glide across the skin as well as stay on the skin. And then when it comes to the glitter, like the light reflecting properties, you're going to see, the usual things like tin oxides, aluminums, calcium, sodium, borosilicate. Why do I even try, right? But all of those sorts of things. And then when it comes to the texture of the product, there are silicas and other silicone cross polymers, and that should be keeping the product pretty blendable, and ultimately is what makes the powder almost feel kind of soft and creamy. There's some conditioning ingredients. Wet n Wild always loves to do that. So there's mirror seed butter, safflower seed oil, sunflower seed oil, glycerin, vitamin E. And there's several preservatives, of course, just to keep the product fresh and shelf stable. And you'll also find some plant extracts. There's ginseng root, goji fruit, rhodiola root. They're basically antioxidants. There's not a whole lot of them in the formula, and I think they add these things just for kind of like pomp and circumstance. But, I could be wrong. I'm not an ingredient expert. So just to kind of overall think about the ingredients, the silicones structure the product and give it glide. You have your shimmer agents, and then you have your emollients, right? Which is pretty well to be expected anyways. So in terms of the swatches and shades, the Chameleon Chrome Highlighter features a unique formula that is designed to shift color based on light reflection. These shades offer a multidimensional finish that transforms from a base shimmer to a distinct iridescent glow. And like I always do, I'm doing my swatches on bare, fair skin. And throughout the blog post, I will say that they're icy, but it's kind of hard to describe. The base color in the pan looks very white, but it's more so clear on the face, and it is dispersing the very fine glitters onto the face. Now, the shine of the glitters can be taken a bit like icy or frosty. That's the best way that I can say it. I really feel throughout the entire blog post that the photos just don't do the product justice. I've swatched these 2 years in a row, and you can barely see them in the photos. I believe that when I show you the video footage, and I embed that in the blog post and I upload that everywhere, you'll really be able to see this product better for sure. But that's why I call them like kind of icy. They kind of are. It's hard to explain. So we have 4 shades. So we have Venus Swing. This is the blue shade. Very cool toned, like sky blue. You have 2 Serious, and that's the green, kind of like a seafoam greeny sort of shift. And those are your 2025 shades, the original releases. And then we have the 2 new for 2026. Aurora Glaze is your pink, rosy glow, and Solar Ember is like a sunset orange. And I have to throw this in here. I just have to say this. So these highlighters, as I mentioned, originally came out in 2025, which means they started to hit retailers at the end of 2024. And I distinctly remember it was Christmas Eve of 2024. I was starting to find these products on Amazon with my partner in crime, Charlene. He's probably listening, so hi. And we were going through the products on Amazon, and we saw this picture of Aurora Glaze, and it was in the product feed, but it just kept saying, unavailable, not in stock. And she kept commenting on their Instagram, like, what gives here? Why is this photo in the product feed, but it's not for sale? And finally, one day they replied and said, essentially, that Aurora Glaze never made it to market. It was more of like a concept, and it wasn't supposed to be uploaded, and we never got it, which I thought is crazy. I don't understand how a full-fledged photo or product ends up in an Amazon product feed, but again, I'm not an expert. So fast forward a year later, so now we're in December of 2025, around Christmas time, and here I am again, on Amazon, on Walmart, and lo and behold, Aurora Glaze does exist. Took them a whole year to put it out, and it looks exactly like the mistaken Amazon photo. It just took us that long to get it. So I don't know a whole lot about makeup and production and all of that, but I'd be very curious to hear just from my nosy self what went wrong there. But we have it now, and it kind of just tickles me pink to give a corny joke every time that I see it. So if you go through the blog post, you will see the swatches, you'll see the product, and you will see all of them actually on my cheekbones. And one thing I do want to say as you're going through the products, I add a disclaimer that my Venus swing obviously looks very different. It doesn't have that like mermaid like scale kind of texture. It's because mine broke. And I do discuss that in the review section, but I repressed it for this blog post. I wasn't going to rebuy it again and be wasteful. But if you look back in the 2025 blog post, I have an intact photo of it there. It's been broken for the entire year. It just finally exploded on me. So I'll get into that. But in terms of the summary on the swatches and shades, you have the 4 shade range, and they shift with blue, green, pink, and orange. Each and every shade has a different light reactive color shift, right? And they're pretty cool and icy. And more so like, you know, the green and the blue, the Venus swing and the Too Serious, and you're a bit warmer, but still kind of icy, right? With the Aurora Glaze and the Solar Ember orange and pink. So now for my review, the highlighter focuses on a formula that again is more frosted, glitter heavy, like kind of like a chrome glittery sort of topper, right? A soft glow product. So in order to like this highlighter in a nutshell, you have to love a straight glitter highlighter. If you don't, this is not going to work for you, right? The color payoff is immediate, like it's buildable to a degree, but as soon as you swipe it on, you're going to see that glitter color, right? So it does start out pretty bold, and it is hard to control that intensity. And that's why I say this product, depending on your taste, but for my taste, it's not really for an everyday sort of look. It's fun for editorial. We're in festival season, you know, costuming, that sort of thing. But when I do like a themed makeup look, like I did like all green when I was doing this blog post, right? Like I like it for that. And every time I wear a green shirt now, I kind of want to take out the green highlighter. But that's kind of all that I see it for in my personal life, right? But from just like the makeup look sort of perspective, you know, the color is there. It's not flat on the skin. The glitter is going to catch the light, right, as you move, and that's where you get that chrome effect. When you are applying the product, you will see some of the actual glitter kind of like dust flying around. But, you know, with all that being said, the product itself is pretty soft and blendable despite all of that shimmer and how it does get kind of dusty in the air. And this is where I want to talk about the product breaking. So the formula itself is fragile. And the biggest issue with that is Walmart does not know or does not care to properly ship powdered makeup products. I have received more broken stuff from Walmart than I have received anywhere. They've gotten a little bit better, but they pretty much ship you stuff in shipping packages that are 5 times the size of the product with little to no packaging material. Okay, I am right now thinking about a Fantasy Makers 10-pan palette that came completely shattered. Just so many things during this process. And I end up buying from Walmart.com because sometimes that's the only way that I have to get some of these products, and I hate it. But there you have it. So in 2025, I had the highlighter shipped, and none of them broke, but the blue one, the powder itself was not adhered to the pan. So literally, I could just flip the whole powder out if I wanted to. So I was just really careful with it, and I never took the time to fix it because I'd have to crush it all up, right? So here I am in 2026, and I'm retesting it. And as I'm filming it, I cannot tell you what happened. It all happened so fast. I must have tilted it. It just like exploded out of the pan, went on my pants. I was able to salvage it. I didn't lose that much of it, but it was just really bad. So I just repressed it in my time yesterday. And I filmed it. I actually filmed the repressing for you all because I did it in a little bit different way that I saw in more recent times in a video. So I'll show you how I did that. And it was so much faster and easier than the crushing it all up into a fine powder sort of method. So there you have it. But then this year, I ordered from Walmart.com Solar Ember and Aurora Glaze. And the day that those were set to arrive, I was physically in Walmart. That was actually January 2nd. I remember this day very fondly for several reasons. But I was in Walmart and they actually had Aurora Glaze on the display. They did not have Solar Ember. And something told me to buy it. And I did. And I'm glad that I did because my Aurora Glaze came completely broken. Not just like separated from the pan, but like crushed. So I ended up returning that, got my money back, and I already had the new one. And Solar Ember was okay. So it's kind of like I ordered 4 highlighters, 2 come broken, 2 don't. It is what it is. But there were several other reviews, and I was reading Walmart.com, so keep in mind what I said. They have not, in my 11 years of doing this, they've just not found a way to package makeup over there. Probably a bunch of men throwing stuff in boxes, okay? Several of the Walmart reviews said the product comes broken. But this highlighter formula is a bit more fragile than some others, but that's not a good situation to have with the incompetent Walmart, okay? But what I really like about this product is how versatile it is. I've seen so many videos of people not just using this as highlighter, but putting it on the eye in all sorts of different ways, just as it is, or putting it over black eyeshadow. I really want to do that. And last summer, I purchased a black liquid eyeshadow to do something just like that, but I don't do it because I'm afraid. And dark makeup sometimes looks kind of weird on me, but I don't know. But it's so cool for that, or to like pat it on your lip color. It's just really pretty. And I showed a little bit of this versatility in my videos, but I didn't go too crazy with that. But again, it is a very creamy powder, and it's also easy to do those things. So in terms of performance, I would give these 9 out of 10 for pigmentation. They're so much better in real life than they are in a photo. Blendability, like 7.5, 8. I mean, you do have some of those glitters flying around, so fallout, 6 out of 10. Versatility, 9 out of 10. And durability of the formula, be really careful with it, 6.5 out of 10. What sets this apart from traditional highlighters, again, is that chrome shift, the very colorful glitter, right? Instead of a smooth glow, which you get with a traditional sort of highlighter. So lots of sparkle here, and you're probably not going to get a very minimal makeup look with this highlighter. So again, if you're thinking about this as compared to a soft shimmer highlighter, this is more for editorial, high impact sort of makeups, right? Where you really want that colorful glitter to be the star of the show. So if you're not wanting that, then for the everyday, you probably want something that's more of a satin or a pearl sort of finish, right? And I think these make a really cool pairing with the eyeshadows in this line, and you'll see me wearing the eyeshadows in the videos where I'm testing these highlighters. So I linked you here to that eyeshadow review. It's just a lot of fun to kind of go all out with these products, right? And then in the blog post itself, I have a little table of all information you need to know when you are shopping. But let's summarize my review. So you have high pigmentation with immediate bold color payoff, a chrome shift that is strong in direct light. The formula is soft and blendable, but visibly glitter heavy. Versatile across your cheeks and lips and your eyes, of course, but probably best used for a bold makeup look. And keep in mind the product is fragile. You may not want to have it shipped to you. And we're going to take a little mint green tea pause. Okay, and move into the wear test. So there's not a whole lot to wear test the highlighter, I'll be honest. I mean, you slap it on. I don't ever feel like my powder highlighter disappears. I don't have a whole lot of trouble with like highlighters and blushes fading on me. So, you know, in real life, again, it is strongly pigmented and has a nice visual impact. As soon as you put it on, it is smooth. The color comes through on that glitter. It's reflective. The chrome shift is, you know, really nice right after application. And just be careful, of course, when you're dusting it on, that the particles, the glitters can kind of fly everywhere. It's not really a problem. It's not like gets all over my face or something. And I did see 2 things on Reddit. I have not posted to Reddit yet, but just to address, somebody had asked if these have a glitter overspray or not. They do not. The glitter is actually throughout the product. And I saw somebody very adamant, like swearing up and down that Aurora Glaze is a different formula from the other 3. And they were saying maybe it was possible some PR packages or whatever has some different formulas or just inconsistencies. I am going to tell you my experience. All four of mine are the same. I believe that they are all the same formula. So I do not know if there's inconsistent highlighters floating around out there, but I cannot tell you that Aurora Glaze is any different from anything here. So I just wanted to speak to that. And of course, over time, they do remain very visible, colorful on the skin. They stay intact. In testing, it is also very clear to me that, if you can go in with a light hand and just dust it on, you're probably going to have the best look. I was using what is marked as an eyeshadow blending brush, kind of like a crease brush, to put these on, but bigger and fluffier, like the type that I wouldn't use for my eye, but it's being sold for the eye. It makes the perfect small highlighter brush. And you'll see a lot of girlies using a brush like that in short videos anyways, and I'm just using a brush that I think is too big for eyeshadow. I mean, it works really well for this. Another tea break there, but how to apply this highlighter? Well, there's so many different ways that you can do it. So I was just dusting it on again, whatever brush you want to dust it on with. If you like a highlighter fan, you like more of like a tapered kind of blending brush situation, I don't care. It's going to work. I would recommend just trying to build it up a little bit in, small layers to intensify that shine. If you want to use your finger, you can use your finger. I don't care. Again, just like any highlighter, apply it to the high points of your face, your cheekbones, your brow bone, inner corner, all of that. And you can use this on the eyes, the lips, use it wherever you want. And you'll get that glitter color moment. On the eye, I'd probably put this on with just like a basic like eyeshadow like C sort of brush and kind of pat it in for a really intense look. If you use more of a sweeping motion, you'll get a little bit more of a diffused sort of look with it, right? And if you want a soft effect, but you want to pack that glitter on all the same, your fingertip is always really good for that, with just the smoothness of your skin, the warmth of your fingers, and you'll get some more control in certain areas if you so desire, right? So summary of how to apply. Start with a light hand because the pigment's going to come through immediately. Try tapping motions on the eye, fingertips if you want some more control, and just try to build it gradually. And I already kind of answered this in the above section. I got off here talking out loud, but best brushes and tools for application. Again, it's really up to you. So any kind of standard highlighter brush, if you use one that's more fluffy, you'll get more of a diffused look. If you use one that's more densely packed, you'll get a stronger kind of line. I don't want to say like a line or a stripe because that's a bad way to describe a highlighter, but you kind of get the idea. And then I was using, like I said, a fluffy crease brush for mine. So if you're worried about the intensity, try to pick up less or more and layer it on as gradually as you can. Your finger is always an effective tool, for a controlled kind of placement. And you'll probably have less of the glitter kind of flying around in the air that way as well. Standard eyeshadow brush for the eye or your finger. So the tool that you use, and this applies to any makeup, right, is going to affect the intensity that you get. So denser, more intense on the brush. Fluffier, a bit softer. So summary, dense highlighter brushes give the most controlled application. It's going to be the most bold, right? Fluffy brushes are more softer and wearable. Fingers will melt and kind of press that product into the skin. A flat eyeshadow brush is going to give you the strongest payoff for the eyes. I rated these 4 out of 5 stars. Again, they can just stand to show up better sometimes, especially in photography. I think they're nice in real life. But I think some people are going to read my review and look at the pictures and be like, huh? I can't see it on your face. I can't see it in the swatches. You kind of have to trust me on this till you see the video. They're okay. And I'm just not into, like I said, on an everyday basis, just straight colored glitter powder on the face. Okay? Tea break. All right, now we have the pros and cons. So the pros, highly pigmented with immediate color payoff, glitter, light reflective shift in direct lighting. They work across multiple uses, including highlighter, eyeshadow, and lip topper. The soft formula blends smoothly and pressed into the skin. buildable intensity from light sheen to bold makeup looks, and it's very affordable price point for the quality that you are getting. Cons, they have just a very kind of frosted, glitter heavy kind of look. May not be your thing. It's not all that subtle. Visible glitter particles may fly off during application. Fragile texture, they can break during shipping. And that is it there. So then I have a bunch of frequently asked questions. I did come across some asking about fair skin. Well, you got it, because I am fair skin, of course. So here we go. Is the highlighter good for fair skin? It is perfectly fine. I think this is one of those products, because it is primarily like frosty and colored. I can't stress the colored part enough. I think it would look pretty on really any skin tone, and that will affect how it pops, maybe how you notice the shift and when you notice the shift. I think it's perfectly fine. I didn't feel like, oh man, I have a stripe of stuff on my face, right? Is the highlighter patchy? No, it is smooth. Really, it is like, Wet n Wild is Physicians Formula, you guys, but it really reminds me of like a Physicians Formula powdered kind of formula. We already said it has Mirror butter in it. So if you like the Mirror butter bronzers, blushes, highlighters, this is very similar. It is not patchy. How do you apply it? Standard highlighter brush, your finger, eyeshadow brush to the eyes, however you want to do it. Does it blend easily? Absolutely. And you can make it, kind of softer or built up to a degree. Is it beginner friendly? Yeah. I don't know. Should you be careful with it? I guess it's really up to you. I actually pulled the green one back out for St. Patrick's Day, and I used more of that fluffy kind of brush to put it over the green flowers that I did on my face. But I felt like it was less noticeable that way. So you can fluff it out, right, to a degree where the glitter becomes very fine and you can't see it. And I would have appreciated it to be more kind of impactful on that day, but I should have used a more densely packed brush is all. So I think it's really easy to use, but I'm also very experienced. But I don't think it's something you really have to tiptoe around either, right? Does it emphasize texture? I never feel like a ton of highlighters emphasize texture on me, but I don't. I'm fortunate that I don't have much texture in the brow bone area, but I have some texture on my forehead, like around the temples. So I tend to not put much, if any, highlighter up there, in general. So maybe it can, but also since this product is glittery, it's not like a metallic sheen. I'm thinking like a Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighter. It's going to be harder for it to emphasize texture with that dispersed glitter. But I don't know. If you have texture and you've used these, I'd like to hear instead of me just rambling on about it, okay? And what are Reddit users saying about this highlighter? Some other comments that I grabbed. It's glittery AF. It's fragile. And my product shattered on the way home. So there you go. Not even Walmart shipping. It shattered on the way home. And they were able to press it back together with alcohol. Absolutely. I love this. It is really powdery soft. It makes for a beautiful eyeshadow. And I just used the blue one yesterday. They're so beautiful. The formula is so soft. The second one broke, but I dealt with it because it was so pretty. I also bought the orange one. I hope Wet n Wild keeps up this line. Even though color isn't quite in right now, these are very good. And I saw one girl on Instagram, or not on Instagram, I'm talking about Reddit, my goodness, had the original 2 shades, and she hit pan on both of them after using them pretty consistently for a year. But, if they're your thing, they can be your thing. But that's it. So they're not my thing to reach for on a daily basis, but I appreciate how versatile they are, and I'm surely going to reach for them when I'm doing a special look and I need a green or a pink or whatever. I think they're very fun for that purpose. And I can't really pick a green shade. I think pink's going to be the most wearable if you want to kind of pull it off daily. Green's my favorite color, so I love the green. But I also love orange in makeup, and I don't talk about it enough. So they're really good color choices for when you need them. Okay? They're fun. Maybe one day I'll wear an orange shirt and I'll pull out the orange one. Don't put it past me. Just not a daily wear. So let me know. Do they look nice on your skin tone? Do you like it? What shade is your favorite? How do you like to use these? They emphasize texture. I want to hear all the things in the comments somewhere. But that is it And then I'll see you next time for some Roundup Wet and Wild posts.